Hey guys, so Sarah Wondra was in court yesterday. They finally released the whole court appearance because yesterday I could only find like little clips of it. But I mean, maybe it was out there yesterday, but I just didn't dig hard enough. But yeah, they have the whole court appearance now up at KTVB. So I'm gonna play it for you, and then later this afternoon I'm gonna go live and we'll talk about it.
All right, we will next take up the case of Sarah Wondra.
Excuse me, Your Honor, do you need me for anything else today?
I do not think so. No, thank you very much for your help.
All right, you're welcome.
Are you Sarah Wondra? Ma'am, can you hear me? I need you to move in a little closer to the mic. I'm unable to hear you.
No, I'm Stacy Wondra.
Okay. You're Stacy Wondra?
I'm Sarah Wondra, sorry.
You're Sarah Wondra. Okay, thank you. Ms. Wondra, in this case, which is CR 38221769, you are charged with having violated the law in one count. It is alleged that you did on or about the 12th day of November of this year here in the state of Idaho fail to notify the coroner of a death, the death of Michael Vaughan, with the intent to prevent the discovery of the manner of death. That is a felony here in the state of Idaho. Do you understand the allegation that's been made against you?
I understand what they've said is not correct.
All right. You have a number of rights when you are charged with a crime. The deputies typically hand out a document that describes those rights in detail. Did you receive a document like that?
They're giving me documents right now.
All right. So in a criminal case, ma'am, you have the right to remain silent as it relates to the underlying charges. You have the right to require the state to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt, the right to cross-examine and confront the evidence the state may put on in an effort to prove its case, the right to testify in your own defense if you wish to, the right to use subpoenas to bring witnesses and evidence to the trial as you may determine to be appropriate, and the right to be represented by an attorney at all stages of these proceedings. Do you understand that you have those rights?
I have those rights, but I don't have any reason to be silent. I did nothing wrong.
All right, well, so I'm going to remind you that you have the right to remain silent. I'm not going to say anything to you or ask you any questions that are designed to get you to speak about or encourage you to speak about the underlying events. But everyone who gives up that right and does speak about the case or make any statement at all about it, of course, those can be used against you. So I'll remind you of that. As it relates to your right to an attorney, do you intend to ask me to appoint an attorney at public expense? Do you intend to hire your own counsel or represent yourself in this case?
Represent myself? No, getting an attorney.
Okay. Do you want me to appoint an attorney to help you at county expense?
I point one.
All right, let me have you raise your right hand to be sworn so I can ask you some questions to be sure you qualify. You solemnly swear the testimony that you're about to give me will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wondra, what is your current physical address?
Well, I live in Henry, but 1102 Redmond Street, Footland, Idaho, 83619.
And your current telephone number? No, scratch that. I'm not going to ask you about that right now. Who is your current employer?
I am for myself, self-employed taxi driver.
And what is your typical income in a week?
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't know the exact amount. I haven't really been doing many taxi rides lately.
More or less than $500 a week?
Probably more than 500. I haven't again doing it.
So are you working at all right now?
Well, obviously not if I'm in jail, but I only work day to day.
Right, so I'm just trying to get an idea of what your typical income is. Obviously, when a person's in custody, they can't generate income.
I don't know my exact income.
All right. Do you own any land or buildings anywhere?
I don't own land or buildings.
How much money do you have in the bank or cash on hand?
I think I have some change in my purse.
Do you own any personal property worth more than $1,000?
I gave everything to the most high God, but I am partially car, but I also don't own the whole thing.
Meaning you owe money against it to someone?
No, I half own it with my dad.
I see. All right, I do find you qualify for the appointment of an attorney. I'm going to appoint in this case Ms. Jolene Maloney. I did review an affidavit of probable cause in this case and do, for purposes of this appearance, find probable cause. What's the state's position, if any, on bond?
Your Honor, the state is asking for a relatively high bond. Obviously, there are implications associated with this charge. And this is the young boy that we're talking about has been missing for a year and a half. And so, it should be noted that Ms. Wondra is on pretrial release for federal gun charges for felon in possession of a firearm. And so, and while that would have happened after Michael Vaughan initially disappeared, I think it shows that she's a danger to the community, and she fails to abide by the social norms that we all expect. And there are obviously very serious implications in her being aware of his whereabouts this whole time. So the state's asking for a $1 million bond.
Ms. Maloney, what presentation would you like to make?
Your Honor, I recognize these are serious allegations. I would ask that the court consider the charges as they presently are and how they are articulated within the probable cause affidavit and the absence of certain facts which may create issues with probable cause. I recognize that the court may have some concern regarding release. At this time, however, I would ask that the court consider any electronic monitoring in lieu or in conjunction with a lower bond, less than $1 million. $1 million.
All right, in this case, the court, as it does in all cases, of course, takes into account Idle Criminal 46 and the factors set forth there, specifically problematic as it relates to a release conditions or on Ms. Wondra's own recognizance or her criminal history, which the court was provided as part of the probable cause affidavit, the possibility of violations of law were she to be released, and the inability to necessarily manage those effectively with restrictions on her release. The nature of her criminal history certainly would bring her character and reputation into question or disrepute. Unfortunately, taking those factors into account, the court will set bond in this case in the amount of $500,000. Should that bond be posted, Ms. Wondra must immediately sign up to pretrial release services to be monitored. She must be fitted with a GPS tracking device prior to her release from custody. She must not commit crimes pending the resolution of this case. She must not leave the state of Idaho. She must remain sober. Maintain contact with her attorney, attend all of her court hearings, sign a waiver of extradition, and sign up to pretrial release before leaving, otherwise the Fayette County Courthouse complex. I'm going to set this for a status conference and review hearing on the 21st and 22nd of November. The status conference will be at 10 a.m. on the 21st and the preliminary hearing at 9 a.m. on the 22nd.
Your Honor, prior to the court recessing, may we take up a procedural issue?
Yes, I did receive, in this case, a motion, so it wasn't even filed yet. My clerk just handed it to me, a motion to seal at least the affidavit of probable cause, as I understand. Is that right, Mr. Duke?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Does the defense object to taking that up now?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Duke.
Your Honor, the state's requesting that the probable cause affidavit be sealed. Obviously, this is a high-profile case, and there are privacy concerns as well as jury trial concerns should the details within the PC affidavit be released. And in addition to those articulated in the motion, there is still an ongoing investigation, and so we worry about the impact that releasing certain details in the PC affidavit would have on the investigation. So we respectfully request that the court seal the PC affidavit, at least temporarily, until we can have more time to flesh out those matters. Thank you.
Ms. Maloney, what response do you have, if any, if you have an objection at all, I suppose?
Your Honor, defense joins the motion, and I think it's appropriate pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32, little I, 2, big E, that this could jeopardize future proceedings given the public nature of this case at this time. So I would ask that the court grant the state's motion.
All right, I've reviewed Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32I and the authority that courts have to exercise discretion in the sealing or not of court documents. And I am going to seal the affidavit of probable cause and the investigative reports attached thereto pursuant to the motion, specifically taking into account subpart 2E and the preservation of right to a fair trial. The court is aware of the intense public interest in this matter and how publication of the details of this case may interfere with the ability to panel a jury and receive a fair trial in the case. In addition, the less focus, I suppose, for the court, there are some risks of harm to persons should that information be publicly available. And so in the circumstances of this case, the interest in privacy predominates over public disclosure, as is set forth in subpart I-1. I'll ask you, Mr. Duke, to prepare an order detailing those findings as required by the rule and sealing the case. Of course, this is something that's subject to being revisited should that be determined to be appropriate or necessary. So the order will last until it's revisited by this court or some other court. Do you have any questions about that?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else to take up today from either of you?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be in recess.
Please rise.
Really, 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 really need your love. I'm begging you to be kind. I'm begging you to be kind.